pragmatic and he'd be like, see that mountain? Never climb it. You know, talk to people who have, read about it, but you might get hurt. Don't do it yourself.
Some guy just came in refusing to pay late fees. Said the store was closed for 2 hours yesterday. Tore up his membership.
Shocking abuse of authority.
Hey, I'm a firm believer in the philosophy of a ruling class, especially since I rule.
When I was 21, my 21st birthday, I went to see Richard Linklater's film Slacker. And that's the movie that changed my life. I'd always been a movie fan, movie buff up until that point. Seeing Slacker, like, opened up the idea of possibility, like, maybe you could do this. That was my first real exposure to the indie film movement of the early 90s that I would become a part of. The one right before me was Quentin and Robert Rodriguez. And Robert Rodriguez was the one that I feel launched 1,000 ships, man. Like, a lot of people point to Clerks, but I look at El Mariachi, because that was the first time somebody was like, he made this movie for $7,000. I felt like this seemed doable. Like, I saw El Mariachi, I was like, I could never do that. Oh my God, look at that. This looks like an action movie. But I could do people talking to each other. And camera not moving, I really do that. It takes an idiot to not touch the camera and stuff. So I was like, no offense. I mean, you know, I'm a man sitting there not touching the camera.
Hey, Doc, I'm gonna grab a Gatorade, all right?
If you grab a Gatorade, then everybody's gonna grab one.
So?
So, who's gonna pay for these Gatorades?
What do you care, you shoe polish smelling my...
Hey, I have a responsibility here. I can't have everybody grabbing free drinks.
Back in 1991, I didn't see anything on the screen remotely look like Me or My World or My Friends. We got close with the Hughes canon, with the John Hughes movies, but those kids were rich, son. Like, I'd watch those movies. I was a lower middle class kid. And I'd be like, why are these kids bitching, man? Look how much money they have. Like, money would solve all their problems and stuff. I'd always ask people, why don't they make movies about the we find funny? And that night, driving away from Slacker, that snap happened. You want to see a movie about the you find funny? You want to see a movie where all they talk about is Star Wars and shit? Make it.
Empire had the better ending. I mean, Luke gets his hand cut off, finds out Vader's his father, hand gets frozen, taken away by Boba Fett. It ends on such a down note. I mean, that's what life is, a series of down endings.
So I tried to go to film school, and I went for about 4 months. It was an 8-month program, the Vancouver Film School. There were 25 people in my class. 2 of them I would spend the rest of my life making art with. Isn't that nuts? Scott Mosier and Dave Klein, who would be my DP in the first half of my career and stuff. I told them, I was like, I'm going to go home and take the money that I'm saving from the tuition, because if I dropped out at the halfway point, I got to keep like $5,000. So I'm going to take that $5,000, I'm going to stick it into a movie. And you guys come out and help me make the movie. If you guys are ready before I am, I'll come help you make your movie and stuff. And I went back home, I started writing Clerks. They finished film school. I didn't come from a very, like, supportive community, and they weren't not supportive, but nobody dreamed. My old man was very pragmatic, and he'd be like, see that mountain? Never climb it. You know, talk to people who have, read about it, but you might get hurt. Don't do it yourself and stuff. So we weren't taught to, like, soar or anything like that. And I remember telling my mom, like, you know, I'm gonna make a film. She goes, how? How are you gonna get that kind of money? Like I was 21, and you know, if I don't make this, I'm gonna die. Like I had to make my statement. My fire was hot, and nothing could stop me except the fact that I had no loot, and that couldn't stop me because I had plastic loot that I would be held accountable for down the road, but in that moment in time, that was the bridge. The camera package, you couldn't charge. And so I remember I talked to my parents, and I was like, I told you I wouldn't involve you guys in this, but like, if I don't have $3,000 cash, I can't rent this camera package for 3 weeks and stuff. They won't let me put it on the credit cards. And so my parents had no real savings, took $3,000 out of the house, like a second mortgagee kind of thing, and gave me the $3,000. And I think they did that because they were like, he seemed serious about it.
A little word of advice, my friend. Sometimes you gotta let those hard-to-reach chips go.
Thanks.
Brian was a guy I met when we held auditions. He was a local community actor, and you could tell he was a really good actor. And so we went after him. I was going to play Randall myself, which is why Randall has all the best jokes in the movie.
Why don't you go join her? Make a little bedroom bam bam.
But the closer we got to production, I was like, I can't work at the store, which I was working at, both stores, direct the movie, and pull the money together. I can't do all the, like, just, you got to let something go. And so Jeff was a friend of mine who'd been coming into the video store. And so he came to the auditions, and he's a non-actor. He'd never been in the high school plays or anything. And I was like, that guy's got something, man. Like, his voice.
You dog, I didn't even see you go back there.
For 21 days, we rehearsed, 3 weeks straight, with Brian and Jeff and Marilyn and Lisa Spoonhour. We all got together, bouillabaissed it up, and that was Clerks.
Nobody's there. It's 4 o'clock on a Saturday. How many people ever come to the store at 4 on a Saturday?
So we were heading toward this IFFM screening, and you try to pack it with as many people as possible, potential distributors, press, what have you and stuff. So we get up there for the screening, everybody who was involved in it and stuff who made it. There was all 10 of us, cast and crew, and walked into the theater, and we were literally the only people there. Later on, 2 other people came in, sat kind of over here, 1 girl sat over there, and then 1 bald guy sat up front. And I had to sit through the first public exhibition of anything I'd ever created for film in an empty theater and kind of sit there and soak in, what have you done? Like, oh, you had such dreams, mother. Nobody is here. Look at this. Never try anything. Why did you do this? And then 20 minutes into the screening, like, I relaxed. Suddenly I was like, well, wait a second, man. Like, yeah, nobody's here and stuff, but look, there's your movie. Don't give up on this. Like, pay the movie off and then make another one, because you loved who you were when this was happening. And I got calm again and was like, okay, and then kicked back and enjoyed the movie, watching it like writ large on a screen in the Angelica, where I had seen Richard Linklater's Slacker, you know, only 2 years, maybe less than 2 years prior. So all of it was all very overwhelming and stuff, and then I left that theater figuring nobody would ever see the movie except me whenever I popped it into my VCR. And then I got a phone call the next morning from a woman who said she was Amy Taubin. And Amy Taubin wrote for the Village Voice, and she goes, I heard Clerks was the undiscovered gem of the marketplace. And I was like, what? Literally an hour later, I got a phone call from another guy named Larry Kardish. Larry runs the new directors for the new film series. The third call we got was from a guy named Peter Broderick, indie bigwig Peter Broderick. And I was like, you have to tell me, who told you about this movie? Dude, nobody was there. And he said, there was some guy there. His name is Bob Hawke. He was the guy, like, turned out he was the bald guy sitting up front. And he saw your movie and loved it, and he's a big figure in the film world. So it wasn't over. It was literally the beginning because of Bob Hawke. And Bob was like, you should submit to Sundance. And the night that we found out we got into Sundance with Clerks, I was behind the register. I was literally being Dante, the guy in the movie. And Bob Hawke called me, the same payphone that Dante's on in the movie and stuff. And he goes, you did it, baby. You're in the festival. He's going, it's locked. That's written in stone. And I was like, you're me? Are you kidding me? Like, I know where I was the moment my life changed. I was on a payphone in a convenience store in New Jersey. If you tell the world you want to do anything, you will be slapped across the face with a big floppy of why. Why? Why do you think you could do that? Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Why now? Why don't I think this way? Why are you acting like this? People get very suspect. You can't get anything done surrounded by the why people. You gotta surround yourself with why not people, so that when you say some goofy to relative strangers like Scott Mosier and Dave Klein, or people who gave birth to me like my parents, or people like Jeff Anderson or Brian O'Halloran and stuff, when you say like, I want to try to do this thing. I've never done it before, and I probably don't have aptitude for it, but it seems fun. And why them and why not us? So you want to make a movie with me? The answer you get is not why. You just get a bunch of people going, yeah, why not? That sounds fun. Why not? That could be cool.